conference here yesterday, one of the first people that I met was Eric. And my husband and I are planning a 2-week road trip from Iowa to Maine. So where do you think we're going to stop along the way?
Yeah.
He immediately says, oh, would you like a personal tour? So when he started talking, your story was perfect. And I also am going to share, these are the other bloggers. I'm a blogger, and it's interesting. A lot of people understand what a blogger is, and some people do not. So depending on who I'm talking to, I may say I'm a travel blogger, I may say I'm a travel writer, or I may say I'm an influencer. Everybody, we're all in that space, but because of social media and the internet, that is where I've been able to evolve to. But Skip and Connie here are with Midwest Wanderer, and Leah is with Yoder Toter Blog. And these are people that can also help you share your story. So, but he's talking here, and then writers, what do? We ask a lot of questions, and I love it that Skip here asked a question. And that we want the details that your engineer people don't. Mm-hmm. And when we're on a fam tour or something, we are like this. We are little question boxes, and we do it to ourselves. We have this schedule that we have to be on. You know, we're supposed to be here at 11, here at noon, here at 1, and then I get in the car at 11:20. Oh my gosh, I talked to that person too long. But you know what? Because I'm asking those questions, I now have a bigger and better story. And we talk about the storytelling. So social media is a fantastic way. So you're talking about the Waterford Museum. Is that how you say it? Waterford?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of glass.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think came to my mind? I'm coming to your area. I now have a story before I'm even there on the Waterford Museum is not the glass. I don't know what that shows for your tail end search or anything on Google, but I'm thinking that might be a story that's going to get read quite a bit. It's good for me, and it's good for him. So the benefits of working with a blogger, your story is shared in ways that you really can never imagine, because we are moving around, we are meeting people and telling the stories. We're doing it through video, we're doing it through our blogs. And you know, when the work really starts for us is when we get home. We're on these trips and doing these things, and we are sharing through social media. But I will tell you this, sometimes in areas of the country, connectivity does pose, yes, it does pose issues. So you want to be careful when you are hosting a writer or a blogger that is using social media. You know, you expect something in return, and we want to provide that. But you also need to keep in mind, sometimes that connectivity is not there. So if we know it's dicey with connectivity, we're better off waiting till later to share that on social media. So you might be thinking, well, that person said they were going to do this or going to do that. Well, you need to remember that there are those things that come up. And maybe it is you get into a conversation or you get on a tour. So I worked with Nancy here in Richmond, Indiana, before I came, the day before the conference, and bless her heart, because I reached out to her a week before the conference. Because I thought, you know, I'm coming from Iowa, and I really wanted to make my biggest bang for my buck from the Midwest Travel Network point of view and travel with Sara. And I expected her to say, I'm sorry, I can't accommodate you, because I only gave her a week notice. And she was able to, she pulled an itinerary out of her hat, pulled it together, and I did want to share this with you because this is what she had waiting in my room, because a lot of times people don't know how to work with us. I don't expect this. But you know what? Welcome, Sara Broers. We're delighted you are here. I have been in this space since 2008. It is now 2018. This is the third time my name has been highlighted on something in my room waiting for me. Do you know what that means? She knows who I am, what I am about. She has done her due diligence. She knows who I am and what I'm about. And when I pitched her, I also told her, I'm interested in this. I, of course, looked at her area a little bit to give her an idea. I do like museums, the history, the nature, and I know I wasn't going to have a lot of time, and I do a bread pudding crawl. I did throw in, if you have anywhere that has bread pudding, you might want to blah, blah, blah. Well, not every place has bread pudding, but my followers are always wondering where Sarah's going to be with the bread pudding. So I did throw this in. And it's no secret, I'm in Iowa, and I do work with Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama quite a bit. So this here was in Perdido Beach Resort. So we'd like to give a special thanks to Travel with Sarah for visiting us at Voyagers and her kind words. Come back anytime. This was shared on Perdido Beach Resort. Voyagers was the restaurant in the resort. So I had posted this video on social media. There's a new winner when it comes to bread pudding. Voyagers, and I tagged them, has the best bread pudding ever, and visit Alabama beaches all along the Alabama's coastal connection. By the way, that byway down there, if you haven't been, Alabama has 32 miles of pristine beaches. That byway is amazing. This was so good. But what really was a winner was they took it, I shared it on Travel with Sarah, and then the resort took it and shared it on their social media. And I will tell you, that's still the best bread pudding I have found. So that's the power of a video, and when it is sharing amongst each other. And the other thing, I'm going to share this when I'm at this. Now, a lot of times when we're thinking of social media, we think of a lot of money, right? We need to spend a lot of, no. We're not spending a lot of money on this. Is anybody familiar with the Canadian Pacific train? Does that go through your area? Okay. Have you ever done anything with social media with that?
It won't stop in our county because it uses the NS tracks, and it goes through northern Indiana from Butler, Kennedyville, up through there. So we have parties now.
Okay.
When we know it's coming through, and they can't always give us an exact schedule,
Right.
we just have to borrow the track from CSX. So what we've done is plan parties where you go camp out, say at 8 o'clock, and it might come through at midnight, and you watch the train. And so we've kind of tried to capitalize.
Have you done anything with that on social media?
Yeah, and we have people who posted themselves, and the local newspapers, reporters also do it.
Yeah, so I knew this was coming through my hometown, and they do have an old depot that we have where the singers get off and perform. Well, I'm not going to that old depot and going to fight that crowd. I know where it's coming down the track, and I've kind of figured out about what time because they have it scheduled in the depot. So I get in my car, and of course, it's one of the coldest days of the year. Isn't that how it goes? December 6th, this was December 6th, 2017. It was cold out. Okay. It was 56 seconds of getting out of my car. I pulled up, and I thought, oh, I hear it. And I kind of ran up there, and I was like, okay, here we go, 56 seconds. There's no positioning. This is my phone. No positioning, no nothing, just got it going, blah, 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 blah. So now, then the train, this has something to do with timing. I know it does. The train is now going to the depot where there's hundreds of people from North Iowa, and I'm going home, and what am I doing? I'm uploading it right here. Those hundreds of people that are taking video at that depot they're at the depot watching the people dance around and sing. And I'm now on social media sharing this, and it's running off like steam because it's the first thing that people are seeing. Nobody else has this out there yet. And what was amazing to me, you can't probably see that. How many times do you think that was shared? This cost no money, people. 503 shares. Reach of 79,392 people. And the irony was I was leaving for Grapevine, Texas for a fam tour of the Christmas capital of Texas like 2 days later. And I'm in Grapevine, Texas at a Christmas celebration and just watching this thing keep going. It was fascinating. And then, also this is the sites, insights that you have on Facebook where you can dive into and find out if the things that you're putting out there are of value. If you're finding you're posting things that people don't care about, move on to something that people care about and they want to see. So it doesn't cost a lot of money. It really doesn't. So I wanted to share that. And then another thing with a blogger, well, I've got these boards going here. This was posted on Facebook, and people could do this with your destinations. You want to pay attention to it because people will tag you. Make sure you respond. In destinations, this is where you can really, really get people there. Your highways and byways, get people there to explore them. Eric Ivy, Hendricks County, Indiana. Do you know Eric, Connie? I met him, I can't remember, 2013 maybe. He posted this on Facebook. Funny how paths cross in life. A few years ago, and I hadn't talked to him. This is in 2016. I hadn't talked to this gentleman in 3 years. A few years ago at a Visit Hendricks County event, I met Sara Broers of Travel with Sara. Now Stephanie Carmichael Ivy, his wife, is working hard on planning us a spring break trip to the Alabama Gulf Shores. And I remember Sarah's been there and loved it. And now we have some great insight into the area before we find a place to stay. Thank you, Sara. So he shared my story about glass blowing in Gulf Shores in Orange Beach. So I sent him a private message. I said, you will have so much fun, but I private messaged him and he says, Sara, my wife canceled another vacation to do this because she's been following you and loved what you've been sharing on social media and reading your stories. And he said, we saw you had 2 places of lodging that you'd recommended on your site that you stayed at. Do you think one is better for our kids? And I said, yeah, this one might be better. So that's the conversations and things that can happen. But look at it, it's an economic winner. It might not have been for the person that, they're going to somewhere different now. But this destination, what did they do? They invested money in a blogger, and it's coming back to them. It's economic development. It's getting heads in beds. It's bringing new money, new dollars into our communities. I almost cringe when I hear somebody say, and I'll hear small business owners say this, and CVB people will say this, well, we have these businesses that are on these Facebook pages and people are really liking and commenting. And I want to share this statistic with you that I really think is true. We get caught up in Facebook and we all want all the likes. A like is worth a penny. A comment might be worth a nickel. You can get a share, be worth $100 easily. So focus on that. Now that doesn't mean you go out there and you tell everybody on social media, share my stuff. That is the quickest way to turn them away. You've now lost your fans, your followers, people that are looking at coming into your communities and driving those byways and seeing those different things. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I'm from Iowa. In Council Bluffs, Iowa, we have the Les Hills over there. And I know some of you any of you been to the Les Hills? Yes, and it's beautiful there. And I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, we were on our way to Colorado and we were stopping in Omaha for lunch. This is what we've done for 25 years, I think, is just kind of our route. And I said, let's drive to Scenic Byway, got my GoPro out and we did a little video on that. And the social media that I received out of that, I will be very honest, was fair. And I love that what I'm seeing here, the energy, just bringing things back to life. Because I know that once your organization, you get that, like you were saying, you had the zen. You couldn't sleep last night because you were so excited you're around your people. And there's a lot of truth to that. So when you leave here, make sure you're following these highways and byways that are here and share their things on social media. I don't consider myself to be I'm not an awesome photographer or awesome videographer or whatever. I can share a story through a lot of these things, and I'm not working for perfection. And I'll tell you this, if you work for perfection on any of this, you're never gonna get anywhere. You're gonna be waiting, forever. And you're gonna say, wow, the social media or sharing our story this way does not work. Well, and number one, you have to start. That's the other thing. You have to start somewhere. If you're not starting, you're not going to get anywhere with any of this. So, but that video, and it was disappointing. The National Scenic Highway Byway, I believe, they liked it or, commented or something on that. And they've shared some of my things that I have posted. But it is sad, I'll be very honest, sad to see that there's not more being shared out there. So what I would really challenge all of you to do, the National Scenic Highway Byway Association, you guys have a Facebook page, and there are some beautiful things posted on there. But as attendees and members, go to that Facebook page where Facebook is where I think you're active and your energy really is right now. And in the Midwest specifically, I will say this, the Midwest is very Facebook territory. But typically we reach 3 million, and our highest one has been 25 million in an hour. On Twitter.
That is.
But now how you measure that, your digital downloads, your snail mail requests, maybe you have phone calls, that's, my opinion, how you can, that's things, you can give these numbers to your board and they're going to be like, what is this? I don't have a clue what this means, But if you can tell them we had 30 digital downloads within an hour after that chat, that's huge. And then when you can go on a couple more days with that energy continuing, you are now building. You have something to build on. But your biggest challenge, I think, with so many of you is you're a one woman or one man show. And you have to wear all these hats. And you got to make all of this go. You're thinking, how do I do this? And in my opinion, one of the easiest ways is find a writer, find a blogger that can help you share that story. They have, we know where the energy is. So telling the story, and you tapped in on that with the people in your storytelling. And I know I've shared this with some of you here already, but my favorite story is one that I did in Port Isabel, Texas. And I was down there in February. And I was on a Segway tour. Have any of you been down to Padre Island in Port Isabel, Texas area? And I was on a Segway tour in Port Isabel, and they also do beach tours over in Padre. I did both in one day. That was pretty much good. And I stayed upright, and I didn't fall over, so that was good. And yeah, my middle name is not Grace. There's a reason my mother named me Sarah Ann and not Sarah Grace. And the gal who was leading the tour got a call from the Quick Shop. The Quick Shop was a place where people get camping supplies, where they get their bait, their groceries, all those types of things. And she just called and said, hey, let Sarah know the fishing boat came in, the fishing boat. I wanted to see the fishing boat. I'm an Iowa farm girl. What's a fishing boat do for me? This is cool. This is really good stuff. So we go down there, and the fisherman is bringing in his fish. And I just walked over and I said, sir, can I do a quick little interview with you? And he's like, me? And his English was broken, but he could speak English. And he's like, oh, sure. He didn't know. Nobody's ever done this. So I get over there with my, I'm going like this, blah, blah, blah. And we're doing our little thing, and we're talking. And I say, thank you very much. And so I leave the gal who owns the shop, my contact information and everything. And this video, it turned out, it was, just wonderful. But I got done with that. He had tears in his eyes. He says, nobody has ever taken the time to ask me those questions. Nobody had ever interviewed this gentleman. I'm thinking, you have local media, you have local print, you have local TV. Where are these people? I said, buddy, you are part of our food chain. You don't catch fish, we don't eat. You're important here. He didn't value himself. So what we as writers and bloggers can do is bring not only value to people in your community, we bring value to your businesses. We bring value dollars-wise economically. We can help grow that base, that economic base. We have, a Midwest Travel Network was born, number one, I live in Iowa. What do you think people say when I say I live in Iowa?
Cornfields.
Cornfields. I drove through your state. I drove through your state. Okay, what did you do? I drove through your state. Kansas, you relate to this. I said to you get it?
Guilty as charged.
And maybe I-90's that way too. I haven't been to your area, and I'm going to find out in about 6 weeks, I believe, what his area is like. So, I say to them, and you came to that sign, it was big and round and had 80 on it. World's largest truck stop. Yeah, we stopped there. And I said, then you went across the road to Arby's. Yeah, and they're like, how do you know this? Because I said, that's what people do. You get gas over at the big station, and then you see, oh, this is too crowded. So then you go back over to Arby's. And then you're pulling out, and you don't see this truck museum over here, and you didn't go in to the gas station area And honestly, it's like a mini museum in there. If you don't get out of your, go park and go in there, it's like a destination in itself. But everybody's in a hurry, so what are we doing? You know, there's an experience right there that people are missing out. But our highways and byways, we have those experiences that so many want. How many of you work with homeschoolers? Has that been a good experience for you? Homeschooling families?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, for our small community, we're in a really small community, and they have a nice homeschool network, and it provides activities when they all get together. So we don't even have to do individual families. They kind of coordinate their efforts.
Right, and are you able to throw the highway and byway stories into the things that you're doing with them at all?
We have. It's not as extensive as it should be, but it is because they travel. They move around in the community. I mean, they're out and about more during the day of the school year. You know.
Well, what about some type of a homeschooling highway byway tour thing?
Yeah.
I don't know that
Yeah.
maybe you could get some businesses to partner up with you to do. I think maybe I don't know what you have, but 5 or 6 different things and
Right.
plan a day. And that's coming from you, the highway byway person.
Right.
But what that does for you is it gives you credibility as somebody that cares about your community from an economic point of view. Because I sometimes think, and what I was hearing yesterday, and a lot of people just, you don't know who's there, you aren't connecting. And I work in the space of social media. I've been there for 10 years. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you the number one way to communicate is face-to-face communication. And sometimes it is just getting yourself out there and meeting that person. And, like you, Eric, I might have reached out to you, and I might not have. We, reached face-to-face. And sometimes, we're all a little leery. Oh, and especially when it's a blogger, you're thinking, well, what does this have in it for me? They just want a free vacation. They just want a blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to lie to you. There are some people out there that probably will try to do that. And have you experienced any of that?
Oh, yeah.
See, I know where I'm going with this. Yeah.
I was a newspaper editor for 30 years before I took this job. And so I hold bloggers to a high standard when I talk with them. Here in Indiana, we have the media marketplace, which IOTD
wonderful.
sets up. And it is because the first year I went, I could spot the wannabes from the true journalists. And I'm old enough to remember when newspapers had their own travel writers, but because resources have gotten so thin, all of that now, all of the travel writers are freelancers and bloggers, which used to not carry very much prestige. And there are some of us who still think that is not the magic bullet for everything. But I do hold my bloggers to a higher standard. I want to know where you're going to be published. Show me what you do. I'm happy to take you around. But we've had some very good experiences too, because we vetted those bloggers right away. And so then we got coverage. We have one of the only true perfumeries in the United States is in our county. And a blogger from the East Coast came out, and she said very nice things about it. And we reaped the benefits of that. But a word of caution is that you have to vet those bloggers and understand where they are. And I have a board of 11 people who govern the CDB. Some of them think that social media is the magic bullet, but they don't do social media themselves. I can't even get them to like our own Facebook page. So we have those kind of obstacles to overcome sometimes. We just keep pitching.
Yeah.
We just keep pitching.
Yeah.
And, I just think that it's important to know how the landscape is. And, as an old reporter, I know what the hook of the story is, and the thing that makes me say wow is what I'm going to start with. And
A hook and a story, you think that is cliche or old-fashioned. No, we still need those hooks. We still need those hooks. And the other thing is with our Midwest Travel Network, we have a little under 800 bloggers, writers, and CVBs and DMOs that are in our network. And if you are not in that network and you are a destination, let me know and I will get you into our Facebook group, and I can give you the email address where you can send your logo, I'll get you on the website and get you there. And we also do, vetting bloggers is really, any of you in here, if you do have a writer or blogger that is pitching you, feel free to reach out to Lisa as my business partner with Midwest Travel Network. Feel free to reach out to us and just say, hey, is this person's in your network, what can you tell us about that person? Because it can be challenging, and we may know that that person has worked with this, and this person. We may say, call that person at that destination. They can maybe be your guide, or, we do know this happened, or we do know that they did do this, and blah, 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 blah. And 9 times out of 10, it's a positive thing, but we don't want, that's part of the reason the Midwest Travel Network exists, because we don't want those stories, because what that does is it puts black on Leah and Connie and myself. So, but Midwest Travel Network came about. It's just people were driving through my state and saying they were not getting off the highways. And you know what? All that money on those highways, why shouldn't it be on our byways? It should be there. We all have things there. So,
Thank you, Sarah.
yes, thank you for
Appreciate
letting
it.
me follow. I could talk about this topic for days. For days. Thank you.